Hey guys, I have a story time. It's kind of sad. It's actually a very sad story time. So, it's about, and if anyone is triggered by self-inflicted harm, probably don't want to watch this, okay? All right. So, my grandpa, rest his sweet spirit, he passed away. I got my notes right here, so I'm looking because the time frame, is kind of tricky. So he passed away 3 days before Christmas, not this year, but last year, right? The year before. So, like a couple days before Christmas. Well, or rewind, go back a little bit before that happened. Okay, so in October, okay, because he passed away in December. So in October, mid-October 15th, something like that, I called my mom. This is before I put everything together, figuring it all out that, my family's trying to get me out of here. So before all that awareness, that was like one of the last contacts I made to my mom. But anyway, I said, hey mom, I had a dream about grandpa. Is he okay? She's like, yeah, as far as I know. Why? And I was like, well, because I had a dream that him and grandma were like sitting down in front of me, and my grandma is already gone at this point. She's already passed away in 2016. Okay. My grandpa handled it quite well, right? So she passes away. She's already gone. So my grandpa and grandma sitting next to each other was like, it was like, right. So I tell my mom this. She says, grandpa's fine. Last time I checked on him, he was fine. It's like, okay, all right, whatever. So fast forward, it's not Christmas yet, right? I get a phone call from my mom, and she tells me, well, first of all, I was asking my mom about my grandpa, because I was making sure, because my dream kind of gave me that feel like, is grandpa passed away? What's going on with grandpa, right? He's fine, whatever. So I leave that alone, right? Well, my mom calls me and says, hey, Ash, you got to go over to your grandpa's house. Your dad's there. He needs you. And I'm like, what? She's like, your grandpa passed away, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So I get both my kids and we run over there to my grandpa's house. And my dad is like, he's shook, right? He's like completely just shocked. His dad, just died, right? Well, come to find out, my grandpa killed himself with his own gun. And my grandpa wasn't that type, right? I know most people aren't, but my grandpa wasn't, okay? And if he was going to, he'd have done it when my grandma passed in 2016. So we're talking years and years later, okay? So, come to find out, back in October of the time frame I'm telling you about, back in October, apparently my family had sent out some voodoo death ritual of a suicide spirit. So, but guess who that spirit targeted? Yeah. My dog starts whining. When the spirit couldn't get me to do that, one, I would never. Obviously, my family doesn't know me that well to even think that I would even, it ain't never crossed my mind, no matter what torture you guys have put me through. I never thought about it, never considered it. Now, when I was a little girl, maybe, like 14 years old, maybe you guys were that bad, right? So, but anyway. So basically, I feel like I don't have any proof. I can't prove it. But when you know something, you know. I feel like they sent that thing, and that thing couldn't get me because I'm just not. It's just not my. You can't get me in that kind of somber mood where I would want to do that. It's just I don't get that sad, right? We've all been there, but like it just wasn't going to happen. So that spirit went and targeted someone else in the family, and it was my grandpa. And it actually got my grandpa to do it. Yeah. So my dog's gonna start barking. So, anyways, so my theory is when it's not your time, it's not your time, right? And it's really sad that someone of the elderly you know, with a weaker mind, they, you know, they would be more likely to do it. I don't know. So I find it ironic that that at the funeral, everybody kept like touching and hugging on me. I know they were thinking, ooh, this was supposed to be you, right? But besides that, I think it's very ironic that, okay, so my dad found my grandpa. He walked in and found my grandpa in his bathroom. Had fallen over into the bathtub, blood everywhere, right? It's very graphic. Sorry, you guys. But, my family, they're wicked. Aren't you guys? If you're watching, aren't you? Um, they'll come for me after they hear me put this out. But, I mean, no, I can't prove it. I don't need to. I don't need to prove it to anyone, but I am sharing it because I feel better about it. It makes me sick to my stomach to think that something they sent to me was supposed to get me and it went and got my grandpa. Instead, it makes me wonder how many other people has it taken, those kinds of spirits. How many people have they taken of my loved ones? I mean, I've lost quite a few. I lost my best friend at 20 years old, my best friend since we were 16. It makes me wonder, you know, my mom's been sending death spells to me my whole life. So, anyways, so it is kind of crazy though, because what ended up happening is I don't love this for my dad. I feel so bad for him that he had to find his own father like that. But let me tell you something. He was hoping to find his daughter like that. Yeah, that's right. That's right, Dad. Yeah, you were. So were you, Mom. And I find it ironic that my mom was having to deal with listening to my dad. She told me this. Waking up in the middle of the night and or doing it in the middle of his sleep saying, "Dad, no!" or whatever it was. He was basically PTSD, like traumatized, which is very heartbreaking. That makes me sad to this day for my dad to have to, you know, have nightmares of that shit. But at the same time, they were hoping to, literally hoping that to be me. Literally. So it's ironic how my mom was hoping my kids would be grieving, and it ended up her being grieving over, you know, her father-in-law. But she didn't expect that, right? So anyways, my family's into that shit. They're pretty dark. So thanks for listening, guys. Bye.